Jesus didn't need no stinking food. He couldn't be bothered to eat. There were more important things happening. Stick around to find out what. Hello world, my name is David Dorn, and this is Preposterous, which is not your typical Bible study. I named the show Preposterous because the words and works of Jesus are just that. They are preposterous, but they will change your life. Today we are in John chapter 4, and Jesus has just changed a life. So in our last episode, be sure to check it out, Jesus goes out of his way, on his way home, in order to have a non-accidental meeting with an outcast woman. Jesus sends the disciples into the town to get food while he hung out around the city well, where this woman walked up in the middle of the day. Now, women only got water during the cool of the morning, so this is an indication that she was an outcast from the other women. Probably because she had several husbands and the guy she was shacked up with wasn't her husband. The women of the town wanted nothing to do with her. Jesus has a very profound conversation with her in which he reveals himself to be the Messiah. And she believed him. She was moved by his compassion and his words, so she ran off into the town to tell all the people who had rejected her that she had seen the Messiah. Just about that time, the disciples came back with the food and they offered some to Jesus, and he was all like, "Nah, I'm good." And they were like, "Did somebody slip Jesus a burrito?" I'm paraphrasing here. But Jesus answers them. Look with me in John chapter 4. "My food," said Jesus, "is to do the will of him who sent me and to finish his work. Don't you have a saying, 'It's still 4 months until harvest'? I tell you, open your eyes and look at the fields. They are ripe for harvest." Now, you very well may be thinking what the disciples were thinking. What the heck is he talking about? All they asked was if he was hungry, and now he's talking about a harvest? For those of you that don't know, harvest is the season of life for people who work on a farm where you go out and reap or gather all of the things you've spent months planting. Harvest time was when the food was ripe and ready to be picked. Now, Jesus uses this agricultural language because back then, everybody grew up around a farm. If you weren't the one who grew the food for the people of your city, your neighbor was. So when Jesus is saying that the people of the city are ripe for the harvest, he is saying that they are ready to accept him as the Messiah, meaning that they're ready to believe in him as Lord. These people were ready. Later in chapter 4, it says that many listened to the woman's story of her interaction with Jesus, and they invited Jesus to stay and preach to them, and many believed. Nice story. But what does it have to do with you? Well, specifically in America, we are moving towards a post-Christian culture. The Barna Research Group recently reported that the percentage of Americans who qualify as post-Christian has risen from 37% in 2013 to 44% in 2018. Barna defines being post-Christian as someone who meets 9 of these 16 points. Do not believe in God, identify as atheist or agnostic, disagree that faith is important to their lives, have not prayed to God in the last week, have never made a commitment to Jesus, disagree that the Bible is accurate, have not donated to a church in the last year, have not attended church in the last 6 months, agree that Jesus committed sins, do not feel responsibility to share their faith, have not read the Bible in the last week, have not volunteered at a church in the last week, have not attended Sunday school in the last week, have not attended a religious small group in the last week, and their Bible engagement scale is low, meaning that they have not read the Bible in the past week and strongly disagree that the Bible is accurate. Lastly but not least, not born again. How many of those did you tick off? Now, my generation, millennials, people born roughly between 1981 and 1996, is the largest generation in our country's history and the first generation to not have, by and large, a positive interaction with the church. And Generation Z has had little interaction with anything church related. Friends, we are in a place where people are ripe for a harvest. They're ready to hear about the grace, forgiveness, and love of God. They need to hear about Jesus. You see, people crave meaning and spiritual connection. Jesus has what they're looking for, but someone's got to tell them. Just like the Samaritan woman who had an interaction with Jesus and simply told others about her interaction with Jesus, we need to do the same. Are we concerned with the well-being of others enough to tell them about the forgiveness and love of God? Knowing what we should do and doing it are two separate things. And there have been a few times that I should have talked to somebody about my faith in Jesus, and I didn't. And there are other times that I have. In fact, I'm doing it right now. It's not always easy. It's not always comfortable. But people need to hear about Jesus, and if not from me and you, then who? Now, we may not lead them to Jesus with our story. In fact, studies show that most people take 20 plus interactions with faith before they commit to faith in Jesus. But when we share our stories, we become a link in a person's spiritual chain. So the question of the day is this: have you had opportunities to share your faith with others? How did it go? Were people receptive to you or not? I'm curious. Leave your experience in the comments down below. Well, thanks for watching. If you like this video, please press like and make sure you share it on social media. Studies have actually shown that people are more likely to share Christian content than to personally speak to others about their faith. I get that, and both are good. But please subscribe to me here on YouTube. That will help the show. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram for daily content. And if you'd like a Bible study on anger, a link to my book is down below. I'll see you soon. I will see you again soon. God bless. Let Daddy sit with you. I gotta hold you up. You're not in the camera. Let's see. Oh! So, this is Ava Grace. Ava, can you say hey to the internet?
Hey, Internet.
Hey, internet. Say, this is why I sometimes can't upload every week. Among this and actually being a full-time pastor, so I'm thinking about uploading every other week to kind of make my schedule a little bit easier and more manageable for me and for my family. Can you tell them bye?
Bye.
Say thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching.
Please subscribe.
Please, guys.